How Lakers can land Ben Simmons in a three-team trade.
Ben Simmons is one of the biggest names on the trade market this offseason. After a disappointing playoffs with the Philadelphia 76ers, it has become clear that Simmons is simply not a great fit with Joel Embiid on the Sixers. Simmons is still a valuable player and an all-star, but he cannot return to Philly after the playoffs that he had. It is fair to question his ability as a superstar, and he probably cannot be the best player on a title-winning team. However, with the right fit, he can definitely be the second best player on a title-winning team. He absolutely can be the third best player on a title-winning team and would be on the Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers would benefit from trading for Ben Simmons. It is easy to bag on Simmons right now, but he would still be a positive addition to the Lakers, and if the team can pull off a trade, they would be better off doing so. If the Lakers were to trade for Simmons, it would have to be part of a three-team trade. The 76ers are still looking to contend for the NBA championship, and Daryl Morey is not going to trade Simmons without getting some kind of star in return. The Lakers do not have a star to trade. However, there is a three-team trade using multiple sign-and trades that the Lakers and 76ers could orchestrate that adds value to all three parties. With Ben Simmons being a clutch client, it would not be surprising at all if the Lakers try and orchestrate a move that lands Simmons in LA. So what exactly does this three-team trade look like? The trade. The three-team trade to get Ben Simmons on the Los Angeles Lakers. The team to call is the Toronto Raptors. The situation that the Lakers and Sixers are taking advantage of is Kyle Lowry's free agency. The 76ers do not have the money to outright sign Lowry, but in a sign and trade, they can take on his salary and essentially flip star point guard for star point guard. The Lakers also utilized Dennis Schroeder's free agency to make this happen. The 76ers won't want Schroeder for Simmons, but the Raptors are more likely to take something rather than nothing for Lowry. For this deal, we put Schroeder's price tag at $25 million per season, which is right around what he is asking for. From the Raptors' point of view, this is a prime example of getting something for nothing. Now, you could make the case that Toronto could trade for Ben Simmons, but the front office would likely recognize that they would not be much better with Simmons and instead get more value out of younger pieces. THT is the prized part of this deal, as he has more value than most lottery picks this season. He has proven he can contribute in the NBA and is exactly the kind of player that Toronto can mold. Kyle Kuzma has potential to be a 20-point-per-game guy, and Schroeder can help the team be mediocre for the time being before eventually being flipped to a contender for more assets. If I am Toronto, I would much rather have this return than just Ben Simmons straight up. Simmons is better than any of the other pieces, but the depth and youth is more important for Toronto, especially when we are talking about getting something for a free agent. Why the Sixers do this trade? Why the Philadelphia 76ers say yes to this trade? It really is not all that hard to see why the Philadelphia 76ers would say yes to this trade. Sixers GM Daryl Morey has been vocal about wanting to put two stars together on the teams that he runs, thus limiting the 76ers to who they can acquire. There are some intriguing other possibilities. The only one that could give this package a run for its money is a trade with Portland for CJ McCollum. Lowry is better than McCollum, though, and the fit of Simmons and Damian Lillard could keep Portland from making that trade. Besides that, there really are not any other options for the 76ers to get another star. Sure, they are getting an older star in Kyle Lowry, but they were already connected to Lowry at the trade deadline. At the end of the day, he is still a much better fit than Ben Simmons. Personally, I would probably rather just hold on to Simmons and work on his game. However, that route no longer seems like a possibility, and it would be shocking if Simmons returns to Philly next season. His value is at an all-time low, and if the 76ers can get another all-star for Simmons, then they would do it 10 times out of 10. Why the Lakers would say yes. Why the Los Angeles Lakers say yes to this trade. I get it, Ben Simmons is not the hottest name in the NBA right now. He melted down at the end of the 76ers playoff games, has not shown any willingness to work on his shot in the league, and becomes a legitimate issue at the end of games when you need a basket. You shouldn't be able to hack a shack against a guard. However, that is also what happens when he is your second best player and your first best player is a center who is known for gassing out at the end of games. Sure, Joel Embiid was good in the playoffs, but it is not like he was great in closing out any of the games against Atlanta either. There will be far less pressure on Simmons on the Los Angeles Lakers. First of all, he would give the Lakers tremendous size. The rebounding of the Lakers, especially if they bring in a traditional big, would be exceptional. The defense would be even scarier. Nobody is denying that Simmons is a top 5 defensive player in the league, and the things they could do with Simmons and Anthony Davis together is legitimately scary. He would take some of the playmaking burden off of LeBron James in the regular season, which helps LeBron at his age. So what if he only gives you 12 to 15 a night? The Lakers are going to get 60 to 65 points from AD and LeBron alone in the playoffs. Add another 15 from Simmons and the Lakers are just fine with getting 75 to 80 points from their 3 best players. Yes, he cannot shoot threes, but the Lakers won the 2020 championship without leaning into the three-point ball. Add shooters around them and off the bench and the Lakers will be fine, especially with Davis stretching the floor more. Rodney Hood is thrown in the trade for monetary reasons and is on an expiring deal. Hood struggled last season but nearly shot 50% from the three-point line the year before. He is not the reason why this trade happens, but the Lakers could still get something out of him. Sure, it stings losing Talon Horton Tucker, but there are reasons why he is not untouchable this offseason, and if you can get Ben Simmons, you do it. It is not often that you can get an all-star caliber player who is also young. This deal is a no-brainer. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.